I'd like to welcome everyone to the Nicholas County Board of Education special meeting on July 14th. Would you please rise and join us for a moment of silence? Thank you. Would you join the board with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item 3, discussion item A, superintendent's contract. Do we have a motion to, do we have a need to go into executive session? Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion.
Motion was made by Rick Green to go into executive session, seconded by Dr. Kennedy at 6:01. Motion to come out of the executive session.
So move.
Second. Mr. Penix makes a motion to come out of the executive session. Mr. Green seconds. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And that's at 7:40 or 7:38. 7:38. Want to mention that there were no action taken during the executive session, only discussion. Next on the agenda is the CEFP plan.
Mr. President, we had a copy electronically given to us, and I think it's pretty clear to state what our CEFP is and what we intend to do.
Does anybody have any questions about that?
It says the Nicholas County Board of Education will strive to provide opportunities for students to earn CTE credit at Richwood High School and or in the Richwood attendance area. What does that mean? Are they going to be able to take those classes at the school or remain at the school?
That was written for strive to provide those. So for example, if you have students who are interested in maybe becoming a teacher, and we have enough students at Richwood that would like to have the teacher ed program, then that can be taught there. You may have students who are interested in Project Lead the Way. If we have enough students with that interest, it can be taught there. So the whole plan has been that the high-wall areas, the areas of that require, like collision repair, paint, body, agriculture, different things like that will be housed at the Glade Creek site. But there will be CTE opportunities for students who are interested. So if you have a student who's interested in maybe becoming a barber, and they don't want to travel to Glade Creek for the cosmetology program, then they can actually be in a barber apprenticeship program in Richwood. We would just have to work with the barber to make sure they have the correct paperwork in place, and the student can actually take their regular classes at the high school, and they can go over to work with the barber. There's lots of things that, opportunities for students in the Richwood area for career technical education if they have enough student interest for them.
Am I correct that the amended CEFP is the mediated agreement?
Correct.
Okay.
Would you like for me to explain or?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the mediated agreement was a governor-sponsored agreement between the Nicholas County Board of Education and the State Department of Education. And there was a third-party mediator that came in and worked with both organizations to come up with common ground and to agree to set of terms as to schools and their configurations and the locations. For example, Richwood says must be within Richwood city limits. So once both parties agreed to this mediated agreement, the agreement, of course, was not a signed agreement, it was a mediation. That agreement then was presented before the State Board of Education, and then the State Board as the CEFP, and then the State Board approved the mediated agreement as the CEFP, for the CEFP.
Okay. And that's Comprehensive Educational Facilities Plan, for those of us that don't know. Now, I had one question on page 42 on this plan. It says replacement cost. What does that refer to? I wasn't clear on that.
Page 42.
Uh-huh.
Which document are you looking at?
The CEFP.
You're looking at the full one?
I didn't print that.
The big one.
It's on the computer here,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
under CF
It's 70-some pages long.
78, 42.
Page 42.
Okay, so the existing facility, let me make sure that I'm looking at the right one. This is the,
Go back there, can you see the page?
I'm not saying,
Go forward. There you go, 41, go to 42. No, keep going.
I'm going the wrong way. Okay, this one.
That's it right there. Page 42.
Okay, so this is data that was collected in the CEFP. We have the former CEFP that's, on my desk or in my office, and that is actually information for our facilities as far as the date of construction, the number of additions, building capacity, the percent utilization, and all of that information is used to identify, to show that you're within the bounds of what State Board Policy 6200 wants you to have. Like they want you to have like 80% utilization of a building.
So that's based on the school building authority formula, or it says SBA formula?
It is.
Uh-huh.
That's what it's,
That's
that's
what it
exactly.
would take to rebuild.
No. That is, that at that time, there was I think it was maybe $200 a square foot that was used to determine replacement cost of the facility.
Yeah.
And so that is just a general formula, and as you know, that we can't rebuild a facility now for $200 a square foot. And I don't know if that's what was used at the time, but that was just the formula numbers that they gave us for the replacement.
Yeah, it looked like when you get down to the Nicholas County Career Technical Center, it says replacement cost $8 million.
Oh, yeah.
So, but they're all based on the same formula, aren't they? At that
They
time.
are.
At that time.
At that time, and to be honest with you, Rocky Roberts or whoever our facilities director was at that time, each person at this office and individuals, they work on their own section of this plan because it's a massive plan. This plan has to be presented to the State Board of Education for approval. And so this plan actually is contracted, those areas, we had ZMM assist in providing the data and the information for the facilities. And then that, of course, was presented to the state board. And no, that is definitely not a realistic number to replace the facility. And like it shows replacement cost for Somerville Middle School, $28 million. So those are really, really low numbers. But again, this is a 10-year plan. And you know, those numbers change a lot over that span of time.
Memphis County High is pretty close, isn't it? 40 million, 41 million.
For that square footage.
Yeah, replacement.
Well, if you look at it compared, you've got $40 million to replace Nicholas County High School and $28 million to replace Ridgewood High School.
Right, right.
So, and if you look at this, it's based on the student enrollment also. So your building size is based on your student enrollment, the utilization of the facility.
Okay.
Thanks.
Page 64, it mentions several places, West Virginia state match. What does that mean? We don't. 64.
Okay, so you're asking about what now?
Where it says West Virginia state match. I'm sorry, MATCH, match.
I'm not scared of you.
That was the dollar amount that was projected for the Glade Creek campus, Somerville Middle School, Nicholas County High School, and Nicholas County Career Technical Ed Center.
But it says FEMA plus FEMA and West Virginia state.
Well, what
match.
that means is FEMA originally started out, you know, with the 25%, and we are up to, what is it, the 10%, 15% state match, because the state had to agree to pay the matching amount for Kanawha County, for Nicholas County, for, you know, the schools affected. To get our FEMA money, the state had to pay a match. That's what that's for.
Started out 25.
And then it went to 50.
To 10.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah. So it was 25, and when we got to a certain threshold in the state, then it went to 10%.
Okay. I have nothing further on that.
Anyone else? Okay, let's move to discussion item C, the FEMA 428 plan. If you have questions, I can start off by explaining. The 428 plan was a plan that was signed and agreed to by this Board of Education and FEMA to accept monies on an alternative procedures program. When this board was originally offered FEMA money, and I actually have all the documentation that talked about the schools being in the floodway and, you know, the need for replacement and things like that. We were going to be leaving a lot of money on the table have we not moved forward with the Alternative Procedures 428 plan. So, for example, I think it was, and I don't have the numbers, someone would just give you close numbers. I think it was close to 1,200 students or 1,180 students at Ridgewood High School at one time. FEMA told us that we could calculate those numbers if we could find past yearbooks and total the number of students and staff in the facility.
and that we were actually eligible to receive funding for the facility built to modern current standards with the maximum number of students that attend the facility at one time. And so that was great, but with SBA, you have to have your utilization up to 85%. So at that time, and again, I don't have the numbers in front of me, let's just say we had 350 students at Richwood High School. You can't build a facility under the traditional plan for 1,200 students for 350 students. That's something that definitely does not, fall within SBA guidelines. The SBA worked with us at the time, and again, it's all different members, but at the time, the SBA worked with us, and they said this is an opportunity to take the additional money, if you're willing to do the additional work. And this entire staff here at this board office worked very, very hard for weeks collecting data and doing the work to secure the extra money instead of leaving it on the table. But if you secure the extra money, then it can be spent on other projects. So, so instead of just saying, build us back a school for 350 students and leaving all that extra money on the table, we did the extra legwork to secure the funding for the alternative, the alternative procedures plan. And that's how that worked. And so that plan was based off of the mediated agreement, which came the CEFP plan, which became the school building authority plan, which then became the 428 plan.
But this has been modified, correct?
So the scope of
Change
work,
requests have to be
there's
submitted.
been, yes, so
Yeah.
there's been a change in the scope of work request submitted to downsize the facility to a smaller footprint. I didn't think that it was needed, but I wanted to be 100% sure. So we sent a change in the scope of work to FEMA for the 428 plan. I received correspondence back. I don't have it on this agenda, but I plan to talk to you about it on the 18th. They sent back correspondence and said, we realize that you're adjusting your school facilities in an effort to meet your budget, and a change in the scope of work is not required. You may move forward, and you don't have to do that. So we have not, so they sent us back correspondence, and I will give that to each of the board members that says that we absolutely do not have to change that.
Okay. Well, how did we, and I know everybody probably knows this but me, but it says unacceptable uses may include restoring or replacing a facility not damaged in the declared disaster hazard mitigation measures accepted.
I'm not sure where you are on that.
Last page, page 8 of and 9 of the FEMA agreement.
Page 8, I'm not sure which one I'm seeing it. I've got a different.
Last page.
Is it I don't think you got a hard copy there.
Okay, so this is following are allowable uses, hazard mitigation that will reduce the risk of damage in future disasters. Subrecipient may use the funds for hazard mitigation on facilities not damaged in the declared disaster. However, the mitigation must be applied to all facilities that would otherwise be eligible for PA program funding. The law also states that mitigation measures must be cost-effective, and the subrecipient is responsible for documenting cost-effectiveness. The criteria outlined in FEMA Policy 104, Public Assistance Program, and Policy Guide dated 2016 may be used for this purpose. Activities that improve future PA program permanent work operations, such as training and planning for future disaster recovery options. Unacceptable uses may include. So this is debts of payment. So if you look at this, it says may use the funds for hazard mitigation on facilities not damaged in the declared disaster. So what when you look at and this is hard to just take a piece of this and try to explain it, but in the 428 plan, it says the retrofitting of Nicholas County High School, and FEMA approved that. So it shows that that is approved, and it says may not be eligible. So it doesn't mean that everything's going to be eligible on the surface. It just says that it may not be eligible.
Okay.
It can be, those documents can be very, very confusing. I mean, it's very confusing.
Yeah.
It can be very, but that's why if you look at the 428 plan, it does show that that they did approve it.
Well, I know that they would not have approved it had it not been acceptable, but it looks like that contradicts
Right.
what they allowed.
Yeah.
That's what's confusing.
It can be extremely confusing. But we had a FEMA representative that sat in this board office for at least 1 year that worked with us every single day to make sure. So we didn't hire consultants, and FEMA told us if we didn't hire consultants, they would give us a representative, and they did. So we had a representative that sat here every single day with us. And we asked lots of questions. They provided us with lots of support in writing these orders and everything that has to be done. It was very, very complex. But we did not go the route, of getting another party in here, a consultant. We actually had a FEMA in here.
So next time, we're gonna know about what they said in regard
Yeah, I can
to the
see
change
it.
and, okay.
Yep.
Is that already on the agenda for the 18th?
I'm going to present that. I'm not sure if I have it. I was probably going to do it in construction update, but typically when I get things like that, I try to just send the emails out to everyone. But with being so new and working with this board, we haven't really established how you guys want things and when you want them. So I'm usually very, as soon as I get something, I actually like to pass it on, and then we talk about it in a board meeting. So that way you know that you have it.
Any other discussion on the FEMA 428 plan? Okay, item D under number 3 is itemized FEMA expenditures and committed funds report, and that was provided to us by Mr. Hess. And what I want to know is, how can we get this out to the public so they can see it?
I mean, we can put it on Facebook, we can put it on the website.
Publish it in the paper. I guess you could, couldn't you?
Yeah, we can do that.
I mean, there's a lot of people asking for this, so I think to be transparent, we need to let them know. Whoops, you all told me about that. I think that it should be out there for people to see, and
I think we can put it on our website pretty easily.
Yeah, we can get it up tonight.
We have the instruction part where our videos and stuff are, we can post it on there.
And we can put it on Facebook. We can take it, pull a link from that and throw it on Facebook. We started the Facebook page to try to put information out because the board didn't have a Facebook page prior. So we try to use that to get information out.
just so the public knows, we have $140 million, $140,104,402.84 left to spend. Anybody have any questions, discussion on that?
Mr. President, I just think it's a good idea that we do get this published, get it out there.
All right, no other discussion on that. We'll move to action item, number 4, action item A, superintendent's contract. Do we have a motion regarding the superintendent's contract? If we have no,
Take no action, I think, so we.
That's, yeah. Motion on my part.
so no motion? So do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
So Mr. Tennant makes a motion to adjourn, seconded by Mr. Berry. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?